Hi, Kipsters. Welcome back to your second Seesaw Wit and Wisdom lesson. I hope that you are all having a wonderful first week of school. You all did such a nice job yesterday practicing your noticings, and today we're going to dive into Wit and Wisdom to practice our wonderings. But before we do that, we are going to warm up our brains by looking at some of the things that Kipsters from your small groups yesterday said that they noticed about Wild About Books. On the next slide, I'm going to show you a list of observations or things that other Kipsters saw or noticed. If you see that another Kipster had the same noticing as you while you're watching the video, I want you to show a silent me too to show that you had the same noticing. So some Kipsters yesterday said that they noticed that the hippos are licking the book. Say, "That's so silly." Some Kipsters also noticed that the bookmobile came to the zoo. All the animals learned to read or write, and the snake was using its tail to write. So if you had the same noticing as another Kipster, I want you to show a silent me too. Some Kipsters had a lot of other noticings too. These are just the ones that I saw most Kipsters notice from the book. And so today we're going to jump into our lesson to practice our wondering so that we can fill out the other side of this chart. The reason that we practice noticing and wondering is to help us start to get an idea of what we already know from the book and what we want to learn more about. This also helps us stick details in our brain and use evidence, that means information from the text, to help us answer anything that we're confused about or want to know more about. Each day, Kipsters, we are also going to have 3 different questions. How many different questions? We are going to have our essential question. And we already talked about our essential question in one of our earlier Seesaw videos this week. Our essential question is our big question. I want you to show me with your hands our big question. That's the question that we're going to be trying to answer as we look at a lot of different books. Next, we're going to have our focusing question. Our focusing question is our medium-sized question. So this is the question that we'll be using one book to answer as we explore the book and look at different parts of the book each day. So our focusing question for Wild About Books is, how does the librarian make reading fun in Wild About Books? So every day that we look at Wild About Books, no matter what our focus for the day is, we're going to be gathering information so that when we're done looking at the text at the end of this week or at the end of next week, we'll be able to tell the answer to that question about how the librarian makes reading fun. So that's the question that you want to stick in your mind to be thinking about every single day. And last but not least, we have our content question every day, and that's our itty bitty question. Get your fingers ready, say itty bitty question. That's our question that we will only be answering for that day to help us build all the way up to our big question. So the way that I think about it is these are steps on the ladder, and you can't climb to the top step or the biggest step without starting on the lowest step and then working our way up. So we're going to be putting all of our content questions together to eventually answer our focusing question, and then using our focusing questions to answer our essential question. You don't have to worry too much about this right now. This is just so that you know each day when we start with our focusing question and our content question, where we're going with Wit and Wisdom. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our lesson today. And I noticed that our content question was, what do I notice and wonder about Wild About Books? You already practiced your noticing. Today, you are going to practice your wondering. But before we get to practicing our wondering, I want to think about what the word wonder means. I want you to think about a time that you have had a question about something or were confused about something. Let's think about a time we might have been confused about something. Oh, I remember that when I was in kindergarten, I was confused about a math problem, and so I was wondering how to solve the problem. Anytime that you have a question or you're feeling confused about something or you want to know more, that's called a wondering. What's it called? A wondering. So the word wonder means to think about something that I don't know for sure yet, or to have questions about something. For example, I might say that I wonder what the weather will be like tomorrow. That means I'm not sure what the weather is going to be like tomorrow, but I want to know more and I have a question about what that weather might be like tomorrow. So now that you know what the word wonder means, We're going to look at some different question words that we can use to help us say out loud or in writing what our wondering is. So as you see here, we have our wonder wheel. Say ooh, say ah. Our wonder wheel helps us choose the right question word to be able to share what our wondering is. I'm going to read each question word on the wonder wheel, and after I read the word, I want you to repeat it after me to practice our echo reading. The first word is who. What's the word? Our next word is where. What's the word? Our third word is when. What's the word? Next, we have the word what. What's the word? Next, we have why. What's the word? And last, we have the word how. What's the word? So, Kipsters, you can use any of these words to ask a question, but today we're going to be focusing on three main words, and those are the words that you see circled here in red. The words that we're going to be using to ask our questions today are who, where, and what. The word who can be used to ask a person. So if I wanted to know who your teacher was, I might say, who is your teacher? The word where is used to ask about a place of something or someone. So I might say, where are the crayons if I'm confused about where the crayons are? And last, we're going to be focusing on the word what today as well. And the word what can be used to ask about things. So I might say, what is your favorite food? Because I want to know more about what you like to eat. If you want to use other question words like how, why, and when today, you can do that too. But today we're just going to be focused mainly on the words who, where, and what. So I want you to pause your video right here, and you're going to ask out loud a question about anything that you want. So for example, let's say that I want to practice using the question word where. I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to know about a location? Oh, I might ask my friends, where do you live? So just like I practice asking a question using the words who, where, or what now, I want you to pause your video and practice using one of these words out loud. You can ask a question about anything you want. Go ahead and pause. Awesome job asking your questions, Kipsters. You might have asked a question like, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Or who is your best friend? Any question that you asked using one of these three words is awesome, and I want you all to show yourself some silent love. Now that we have reviewed our question words, I'm going to show you how I would practice my wondering from Wild About Books. Since I listened to Wild About Books yesterday, I don't remember the story super well, so I'm going to want to go back into my Seesaw and click on the YouTube read aloud for Wild About Books so that I can listen to that story one more time. Once I'm done listening to my YouTube read aloud of Wild About Books, I'm going to think of questions that I have from the text. Maybe something that was confusing to me, or maybe something that I want to know more about. I'm thinking to myself, what do I wonder? What do I? Last, I'm going to go into Seesaw and record my voice to share my wondering with my teacher, just like I did when I recorded my noticing to turn into my teacher. So for example, I would go into Seesaw, go into my template and click that little microphone button, and then I would record myself saying, I wonder why the animals don't take very good care of their books. Your question will sound different than mine because I'm sure that you have different things that you want to know more about, but you need to make sure that you record it on Seesaw so that you're ready for your small group lesson and so that your teacher can check your work. If you're having trouble with your Seesaw recording, you can either let me or your teacher know, and they can show you how to use Seesaw, or you can save your wondering to share in your small group for your live session. But now it's your turn. So when this video is over, you are going to go back to Seesaw, click on the blue YouTube Read Aloud link to listen to the story. You're going to think of questions that you have from the text and think to yourself, what do I wonder? So what do you want to know more about? Then you're going to make sure that your question has one of these three words: who, where, or what. If you want to ask a question using another word, that's okay, but these question words who, where, and what are probably the easiest to use for today to ask your question. Also, if you want to record more than one question, you can do that too. Once you're done recording on Seesaw, you're going to press submit and you are good to go for today. But before we go to Seesaw, we have one more question to think about before we sign off. So today, at the end of the day, when you are all finished with your learning, someone in your family is probably going to ask you, what did you learn at school today? And so I want you to take a second just to think to yourself about what you learned from Wild About Books and what you'll tell that person from your family that you learned at school today. So take a second to think. What did I learn in Wild About Books today? Okay, perfect, Kipsters. After this video it ends on the slideshow, it's going to keep playing to show you how to walk through Seesaw, to pull up your YouTube link, and submit your voice recording. But other than that, you all are finished for today for Wit and Wisdom, and I cannot wait to see you for our small groups, and I know your other teachers are also super excited. Thank you for working so hard, and I thought we could finish today with a roller coaster cheer. So if you want to follow along with me, that's awesome. After the cheer is over, make sure you stay on this video so that you can see the steps to record your wondering on Seesaw. Get ready for a roller coaster cheer. Ooh, get ready. Woo, 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 ah. All right, Kipsters, next up are your Seesaw instructions, and I will see you all later. Have an awesome day. Okay, Kipsters, now that you are done watching the video of Miss Harden teaching about Wit and Wisdom, I am going to walk you through how you can upload your response for today, and also how you can watch the read aloud of Wild About Books before you share your wondering. So now that you've finished the video, that means you already clicked in up here and were able to watch the whole video. Now I see in my instructions that after I watch the video of Miss Harden, I need to listen to the read aloud of Wild About Books by clicking the blue link. So I'm going to click this YouTube link right here. That's going to pull up my read aloud video for Wild About Books. While I'm listening to the read aloud for Wild About Books, I am going to be thinking about a question I have or something that confused me that I wonder about. Once I am done listening to the read aloud of Wild About Books, my next step is to record my voice to share my wondering. So first I'm going to come down here and click the green button that says Add Response. I would choose my name from the list. Once I've clicked there, I see that my instructions say click the microphone button on the left to record your voice. So I see that microphone right here. I'm using the sentence stem I wonder. I also see that I have my wonder wheel here, and I know that we're focusing on the question words who, where, and what. So now that I've thought of my question in my head, I'm going to press record to record my voice sharing my wondering. Now I see it's going to start recording. I wonder what animals took the best care of the books. Then when I'm done, I'm going to click the done button. I'm going to listen back to my answer to double check that I like what I said or that this is what the recording that I want to turn in. I wonder what animals took the best care of the books. Great. So that sounded super clear. I know that my teacher will be able to hear my recording. Now that I'm all done, I'm going to click the green check button. And now it uploaded so that my teacher can see it for my Wit and Wisdom small group. Can't wait to see all your work, Kipsters. See you later.